What's up everyone, this week I've got 5 top tips for how to introduce your kids to whitewater kayaking so they're going to love it as much as you and I do. Just a bit of background here, these are tips that I have built up over my last kind of decade of whitewater kayak instruction and working specifically with kids in whitewater, ages 7 upwards. They're definitely not hard and fast rules, but they're kind of a good outline to keep in mind if you're introducing your little one to some whitewater soon. And hopefully you can do it so that they will love it as much as we do. So tip number 1, kayaking is all about having fun. So make sure when you're kayaking with your little person, however big or small they are having a good time. Tip number 2, don't focus on learning too much. Try and focus on playing games and having fun, which are going to force them into turning and maneuvering their kayaks, but without them actually having to have the chores of like practicing specific skills, because if they're practicing all the time, that's going to be super boring and they're not going to be engaged. But if you're playing a game where you're kind of forced into doing those skills, then that's going to be a lot more beneficial to them in the longer term. Tip number 3, don't make bad memories. People always look at me sideways when I say I'm not going kayaking with my kids group today because it's cold or it's raining. Find something else to do, find something inside, find something off the water. There's plenty of other things they can be doing, but you never want to create a bad memory with them at a young age, because as soon as you get one bad memory, it's going to be very hard to undo that and get them back on the water. Ideally, you only want to be going out in really great weather conditions, really great water conditions for them, to make sure they never have a bad time. You don't want them to look back when they're older and think, yep, I tried whitewater kayaking and all I remember is being really cold and it was raining and miserable the whole time. So try and keep that in mind. Only make good memories. Tip number 4, get other kids stoked. Kayaking is definitely a lot more fun with friends, and if you can find another group of friends a similar age, similar ability levels, that you can all have fun and get stoked on being on the water together, that's going to help you a lot down the road, and it's going to give them more friends to hang out with. You're going to be doing more of the same activities, you're going to be learning and progressing at the same rate, which is really, really important. It's kind of boring to be that one young kid kayaking with their parents and a bunch of their parents' friends. It's definitely a lot more engaging if you can do it with another group of similar aged youngsters. So try and look for clubs in your area or kayak clinics in your area that have kids of roughly the same age, and it's definitely a lot more fun when they're all together, so keep that in mind. Tip number 5, do not rush, especially with putting on a spray deck. On the clinics we teach, it is one of the first things we get into, but it's definitely not a pivotal be-all and end-all moment, and we've done whole clinics before with kids who just didn't wear a spray deck for the whole week. You definitely do not want to give them a bad experience not being able to take their spray deck off when they're upside down, because that's probably going to ruin their entire kayak experience and probably put them off forever. So really try and hold off on that for as long as you can, and if you are going to hop into the spray deck game fairly early, try and think about starting off easy, or with like a nylon skirt or like a sea kayak skirt that's going to come off and on really easily, just to guarantee that you're not going to make any bad memories. You know, they're really young, they've got plenty of time to figure out rolling and staying in their kayak and all that stuff, but really you don't want, this goes back to tip number 4, you don't want to create a bad memory with them by having a skirt that is difficult for them to take off and maybe is going to cause them to panic when they're upside down and not have a good time. So if they don't have a good time, they're not going to enjoy what they're doing and they're not going to come back. And then my final tip, definitely the most important tip, goes right back to the first thing I said. Make sure you are having fun. Kayaking is all about having fun, and if they're not having fun, they're not coming kayaking with you again. So if you really want your kid to have a good time kayaking, then make sure they are having fun first. Learn about kayaking later on, but having fun with a kayak is definitely the most important thing to start early on. Alright, hopefully those 5 tips, or 5.5 tips, 5 tips, hopefully those 5 tips help you out introducing your little person to kayaking, and hopefully they'll enjoy it as much as we all do. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you next week. Peace!